Okay, guys, so I want to start this out a little different. I'm going to give you the TLDR version first. Why Christianity needs to divorce itself from American politics. Our identity should be in Jesus. This is not our home. Our faith cannot be tied to political systems. Throughout history, persecution and death was the norm. God's control is not tied to the stability of our political systems. Jesus did not advocate for better political systems. A servant is not above his master. We must not tell the world that following Jesus requires certain politics. The message of Jesus will not be tainted by the actions of this country's leaders. And number 10, it will help focus our hope on the eternal over earthly ideas. So there's the TLDR version, less than a minute. So if you only listen for the first minute, you at least got what I'm covering and see whether you want to listen to what I have to say. Now, as American Christians, there's a lot of times where our identity as Christians is tied to the country we live in and our identity as Americans. But our identity is supposed to be first and foremost as a follower of Jesus Christ. If being an American competes with that and the actions required of putting this country first compete with the actions of putting Christ first, we need to choose Christ over this country. And so there are some times where our ideals will conflict with our ideals as Christians will conflict with what's better for the country. Where what's better for the country as a whole is in opposition to what's better for us as we follow Jesus Christ. So that's reason number one, that our identity should be in Jesus. The second one is this is not supposed to be our home. I'm going to read this passage in Hebrews, talking about the people in faith, Hall of Faith, Hebrews 11. These all died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, were assured of them, and embraced them, and confessed they were strangers and pilgrims on this earth. That means they didn't consider this earth, this planet, to be our home. They didn't consider the country that they were in as part of their identity. For those that say such things declare plainly that they seek a homeland. So that they're not claiming the country they live in as their homeland, which is why we need to claim our future home as our homeland, the homeland that we look forward to as pilgrims and strangers on the earth, not the country that admittedly was built with Christian ideals in mind. Instead, we look for the nation that is Christian ideals, not just built on it. Number 3, our faith can't be tied to political systems. So if our hope for our future is tied to whether the country does well, then we're hoping for the best political system that helps our country do good, which we want our country to do good, but then our hope is in that political system, and that instead of the hope is in the Father in heaven who guides our eternal destiny as well as our physical one. Number 4, throughout history, persecution unto death was the norm. So we have this hope that this country will become more Christian or more friendly to Christian ideals, because we want to see godliness reflected in this country, which is, it's a good thing to want, right? But throughout history, this short span of America, United States, where Christians aren't hunted down and killed, has been the exception. Throughout history, all throughout European history, those who had different beliefs than the approved beliefs were killed. Now people who have don't have approved beliefs are shunned, or they lose their jobs, or other type of stuff. But we haven't got to the point where it's death to have beliefs that are different from the norm. But throughout history, those who served Jesus were required to either have approved beliefs from the state, which they dictate what is acceptable and what's not. They tell you what Christianity is. Otherwise, it's death. And those beliefs tend to serve the interest of the state and not Jesus Christ, the Messiah. Otherwise, they would have no need to threaten to kill those who had different beliefs. Number 5, God's control is not tied to the stability of our political systems. It says in Romans that God chooses who leads the nations, good and bad. It means he chose Stalin. He chose the bad guy in WW2. If God is in control, it's not tied to the stability of our political systems. God's control is more than just wishing the best for everybody. There's been other countries who have Christians in them who they kill Christians. That does not mean God's not in control. In my opinion, one of the purest Christianities in the world right now is the Christianity of the Chinese Christians. They live under communism, under pain of death for their beliefs. But yet they believe and they serve Christ at the cost of their lives. Their political system did not hurt Christianity in that country, but made it pure. And those who believe in Christ in that country realize they sacrificed their lives for their beliefs. Number 6, Jesus did not advocate for better political systems. Jesus lived in Roman-occupied Palestine. He did not call for revolution in the political sphere, but revolution in the spiritual sphere. Jesus submitted himself even to death on a cross. And it says, now, people give this picture of Jesus washing the feet. Okay, what is it? He gets us type of stuff. First of all, he was not washing the feet of strangers. He was not washing the feet of the prostitutes. He was washing his disciples' feet. Why did he wash the disciples' feet? It says, for I have given, John 13:14 through 17, for I have given you this as an example, that you should do as I have done to you. Because it's the most demeaning thing. Their feet had poop on them. They were serving each other in the basis of tasks. Most assuredly I say to you, a servant is not greater than his master, nor he that is sent is greater than he that has sent him. If you know these things, blessed are you that do them. So the commercials that show him washing all the apostates' feet and the sinners' feet is not the example that he gave to his followers, was to wash each other's feet, to serve each other, serve the brethren, not to serve the sinners. That's what Jesus said. So if Jesus gives us the example of not being advocating for better political systems and submitting to an unjust political system, his is the example we need to follow. Number 8, we must not tell the world that following Jesus requires certain politics. We have our ideals and our beliefs, and people believe that tells them to follow one political system over another political system. But what is allowed in your country does not mandate your actions. If they say one unrighteous thing is allowed, that means you're forced to do said unrighteous thing. It does not follow. Your actions and your responsibility for your actions will always be yours and yours alone. You are not responsible for the actions of others. That will not change no matter what laws are on the books. Our responsibilities will still be on ourselves no matter what is allowed for others. Number 9, the message of Jesus will not be tainted by the actions of this country's leaders if we divorce ourselves from American politics. People in other countries look at America as the Christian nation. If we had separated ourselves from American politics, the message of Christ will not be tainted by the wrong actions or good actions or whatever actions of this country's leaders, because they'll know that Christianity and this country are separate. Number 10 reason why we need to divorce ourselves from American politics is it will help focus us on hope in the eternal over earthly ideas. American politics helps focus us on hope for a better, tangible future. We want what's best for our kids, for ourselves, for those around us. And that's a focus on the earthly. If we divorce ourselves from these political systems and instead focus on growing ourselves spiritually, instead of focusing on the earthly, we will grow to have true fruit that lasts forever and is not burned up in chaff. So I hope this is a little bit different video. I didn't give you all the verses to back up all of these things. I could if I wanted to, but I guess I just don't. I'm going to make it short. For me, short. And those are the 10 reasons America needs to divorce itself from American politics.